Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of Business Blueprint. I'm your host, Sergio Davids. Joining me today is Kenny Simon, a CMTrading market strategist. How are you doing today, Kenny?
Very well, thank you, Sergio. And how are you doing?
Awesome, awesome.
All
I'm
good?
good, man. You know what? It's a new
Brilliant.
year filled
It is the
with
new year
market
indeed.
opportunities.
That is
So
perfect. You're right. Of
let's kick things off with Forex.
course.
So
Okay,
I noticed there's some big developments with the Euro USD, currency
that's right.
pair.
Mhm.
What's happening there, man?
Yes. Oh, there's just lots going on, especially after the speech by Louis de Guino, I think, or Guindos, the vice president of the ECB, last week, as of the 10th of January, about 5 days ago. So he's talked a lot about economic developments in the euro area, which
Yeah.
basically has shaped the easing of the pandemic. But they've got something going on with the policies as well, very unsure on policies, interest rates, and various others. So in 2023, last year, a lot of progress was made in curbing inflation.
Yeah.
However, more needs to be done, as he said, to ensure a timely and sustainable return of inflation to the 2% medium term target.
Do,
So that's been seen on the charts at the moment. Yes, sorry.
do you think, you know, I mean, this inflation, sort of nightmare started, end of 2021 really, you
That's
know,
right.
continued to build up through 2022, and 2023 was just dominated by, high interest rates,
That's it.
high
You've got it right.
inflation.
That's
So,
right.
I remember I even asked this to Fred, our teammate Fred as well.
Mhm.
Do you think we're going to get to the stage where we'll finally curb inflation this year?
Um, it's a catch-22 kind of situation. They're curbing not only factors like inflation, but there's still the war factors still driving uncertainty. So there's a lot of balancing act that ECBs and central banks, are actually dealing with at the moment. Now, when it comes to trading on a daily basis with traders in the retail market, what they would love to know is how could they actually trade intraday on the
Yeah.
currencies. So with that, I think my role as a mentor has always been to focus their attention, because where your attention goes, that's where energy flows as well, right?
Mm,
So this is really key for traders to understand on tools that they can actually use, like heat maps or currency meters, to help them understand where the trend is on an intraday or daily trading sort of basis. Because if not, if they gather all these information about interest rates and news which comes out every minute of the day, they'll get
right.
so confused with current
Yeah.
developments
Data
that they
overload.
wouldn't
Yeah.
be able. Yes, data overload. That's exactly it. So, as of last week, what we could see when market opened today, we've got 10 moving currencies, and we can see that New Zealand dollar has actually predominate the movements as of today. Now, this is where we can then pick out the right pair to analyze. Firstly, we need to research the
Yes.
picked currencies, and then we analyze it, and then we make decisions of whether or not we could actually be trading these currencies or not. So when I've done the first stage of what I do every day, which is researching, I find that New Zealand dollar versus the dollar, the US dollar, as well as GBP versus the NZD, and also the third one, AUD versus the USD, has got lots of attention as of today by investors and traders. So there will be a lot of reason driving that move, but what we want to know is whether or not these three pairs could actually give us volatility, because volatility is a lifeblood of forex trading. You see,
Yeah.
so
Agreed.
this
I
is
mean,
where
nobody wants a stagnant, market.
that's it. Exactly. So these are the focus for today on these three currencies, and then I'm further analyzing these pairs to look at whether or not we've got resistance zone as well as support zone. So this will then guide traders to understand that they could use technical analysis or the technical chart as a map in charting their movements in trading whatever that they want to trade.
Cool. Moving on to
Okay,
another asset. I
sure.
find what's happening in commodities, specifically gold, quite fascinating.
Yes.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
back in, well, not back, back in 23, so we're talking 12th December, right? Gold was
Yes,
trading about 1980, and then it shot
that's
up
right.
to above $2,000,
That's it.
spiked around just before January 1st. We had a spike to 2080, and now it's
That's
sitting
right.
on 2054. But,
Mm.
trading
Mm-hmm.
above $2,000, for better part of a month is quite big. What's happening with
Yes,
gold?
you've got that right. It's it's really tricky, but it's got loads of connection, correlation with the movement of the US dollar, especially the
Yeah.
US index, which
So,
has a basket of six currencies in there.
right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sorry to break your thought there, but would it not be fair to say that,
Mm-hmm.
when the dollar suffers,
Mm-hmm.
traders move towards, you know, well, what you would term as a safe haven asset like gold?
Yeah,
So does that
that's right.
mean there's an issue with the dollar?
At the moment, it's still on the upside for the dollar, and this is
Right.
what's giving a bit of a resistance value or resistance level for gold. If we look at
Okay.
gold, yeah, at this moment of time, it is still stagnant and basically trading on a sideway, and it's trading at 2053 or 54 at this moment of time. Now, when we look at the window of the market, which is your technical chart, it looks like gold has got a ready-made resistant level at the 2050s area. So it's going to be very tough at this moment of time to break out from that resistant level. So that does give us traders and investors a hint that it is most likely that gold is finding resistance on the way down as opposed to on the way up because of gold's strength at this moment of time. So with USD strength, sorry. So the US dollar is giving us the hint that it is still in continuation of an uptrend. It is still picking up on its strength as a currency, together with the US index, with a basket of other currencies. It is still on the upside or more bullish than the other currencies. So that does give us the next hint of confirmation that gold may be retreating at the moment with all its buyers going onto more risky what do you call that risk on kind of mode.
Yeah.
So when it's a risk on kind of mode, they want to buy other risky currencies including the USD. Yeah,
So the US has, major election coming up.
that's right.
And, there's going to be a lot of focus on the politics, but it's
Hmm.
going to, just like in the previous election cycle we saw hit, the US economy.
That's
What do
right.
you think is going to, do you think it's going to have a big effect on the USD? Do you think, since we're talking about gold, we'll see an influx in
Yeah.
gold?
Yes, I think what we need to do at this moment of time is to break out by regions and continents, like major players in the forex currencies market is London, for example. Majority of transaction,
Oh, okay.
major transactions in the world would actually be impacted or driven by what goes on in the UK, especially with GBP strength, with politics in the UK, and then it could then correlate with the Eurozone's economy, and then the US. So there is a bit of a triangular effect that we need to actually look at when it comes to fundamental, or we call it a PEST analysis, PSTE analysis, where we look at politics, we look at environment, we look at all these ones that could actually drive factors of businesses, especially especially
Right.
economics as well. So looking at that, we need to dig deep into what are the policies, rates and interest rates that's going to be announced by which central bank coming up soon. I believe this week we are awaiting news and policies and decisions from ECB. And that is why we're looking at movements impacting the euro at this moment of time. And then we need to look at the political impact, business impacts as well. Three major countries in euro, for example, that's driving the entire economics of the eurozone are Germany, France, and Italy. So we need to look at
Mm.
what's happening in these countries as well, impacting the euro, and then we can then look at how much it's impacting the other side of the currency, which is the USD. So hence the reason Euro USD would be a nice indicator to look at what's
Okay.
going on with Euro USD as well. So at this moment of time, it's just looking at the window of the market, which is the Euro USD on the charts, on the candlestick chart. It looks like it's still on a sort of sideway for euro. So that basically means it's awaiting breakout. So whether it's a breakout to the upside or a downside, it is still for us to wait and see before we take that financial decision to trade.
Excellent. Moving on
Okay.
to stocks. So
Okay.
this one quite excites me. I mean, we've
Yeah.
seen this battle between Microsoft and
Yes.
and
Apple.
Apple, take
Yeah.
place for the
True.
better part of last year, and
That's right.
finally, Microsoft
Hmm.
beating Apple as one of the world's
Yeah.
most valuable companies for the first time in 2 years. I mean, that's
That's
huge.
right.
But my question to you is, what do you think of Microsoft as a stock?
It's interesting that you've put the two together because these are what analysts, traders, and investors are also doing is to put Microsoft and Apple side by side, and they seem to impact one another. So because of the current news or breakout news that happened last week or a couple of weeks ago, where the worries about smartphones demand have basically pushed Apple shares down by 3%. So that's basically a very big number of a fall of 3% in the beginning of the new year. So just a couple of days of the new year, we've got bad news for Apple, and that has not been digested very well by its shareholders as well as traders. So that is basically where we see, on the contrast, we see a very steady growth for Microsoft in 2023. So Microsoft basically is up about 3% year to date after surging 57% in
This
2023 last year alone.
Wow.
So that contrast is basically giving like a blinders effect for investors and traders at the moment for Microsoft as opposed to Apple. Yeah, that's basically
Jeez.
what's going on.
Microsoft
Yeah.
Microsoft has done a lot
Hmm.
of work in terms of
Yeah.
AI, throughout
Yes, you're
2023.
right.
And
That's
I
right.
think that's paying, dividends. And I've heard it said that, Apple's
Hmm.
core product, iPhone sales, slowed down. I mean, it has been, what,
Mm.
a year plus the release of its
Yes,
latest product.
that's right.
I mean, look, Apple is, still an amazing company, and they've got no
Mm.
shortage of
You're right.
fingers in different pies. I mean, you've got your streaming alone, which is generating them
Absolutely.
quite a bit of money. But
You're
it's
right.
just fascinating to see that Microsoft taking on the giant that is Apple
Yeah,
and coming
true.
out tops. So yeah, I mean, not that Apple isn't far behind, but
Yeah,
it's just
no, they are
interesting. I mean,
great
these are two
companies.
trillion dollar, well, two trillion
Yeah,
dollar companies.
that is right.
So
You're
yeah,
right. Absolutely.
and
Yeah, I
then
think it's a matter
and
of timing. It's all about
yeah,
timing as well. This
yeah,
is maybe Apple's time to understand that. If we look at the charts as well,
yeah,
coincidentally, whatever that came in as negative type news for Apple could also
right,
be seen very clearly on the charts. On the charts for Apple, on the daily chart itself, I just see several resistant levels. So that these resistant level where market could go up and fall at any one of these lines does actually coincide with whatever news that are released that has got a little bit of a negative tone for Apple. So that does coincide. But if we look at the charts for Microsoft, it's just a very smooth path to the upside with
Oh
the
wow.
least resistance. So yeah, that is where we could use the charts as the window to the market, sort of like a map to mark your territory of where you could actually target your take profits, as well as trade and be aware of resistance levels as well to mark your exit levels, potential exit levels.
I
Yeah.
mean, it wasn't that long ago
Yeah.
where, if we're talking back in when it was first announced in 2021, where
Yes.
Microsoft made a huge push into the gaming world,
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
now become, with their acquisition of Activision slash Blizzard. I'm not sure if you're a gamer, but basically
Yeah. Not
Activision
so
makes
much,
all
but
of
I'm
the
aware of it.
well, they make all
Yeah.
of the Call of Duty titles. So
That's
if
right.
you've heard
Forza
of Call of Duty,
Horizons.
that's Activision. So now
Yes.
Microsoft owns them, making them
Yes.
technically the biggest gaming company, you know,
Yes.
in the world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a major acquisition, and obviously something that Microsoft sees
Yeah.
have
You're right.
heavy investment in, and it's probably going to pay off well
You are
soon.
right. I mean,
So
if yes,
you know,
you're right.
no, go for it.
Yeah, as of I think you would know this already. I think it was last year, as of 2023, there is a market share of about 45% by Microsoft in PlayStation, right? PlayStation
Yes,
system
yes,
hardware.
the stake.
So it's PlayStation system hardware, games, services, and basically that made Sony remained the worldwide industry leader, right? Followed
Right.
by Nintendo with only
Yes.
about, I think, close to 28% market share. But Microsoft is having that 27.3% market share. So you see that wild surge. So
Yeah.
that's not done by Apple in that kind of arena of
No.
gaming, which you are right by saying that. But
It's huge.
this is, yeah, it's huge. It's
I
super
mean,
huge.
you must remember that gaming was seen as a tertiary industry in
Yeah.
the entire entertainment scheme. When we
Yes, you're
consider
right.
like movies and TV and music,
Hmm.
right? It's
Hmm.
probably number 4 on the list in terms of
You are right.
entertainment. That all
Exactly.
changed when COVID started.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
you couldn't do in theater tickets anymore. They couldn't get those sales.
Correct.
Movies had to scale
Absolutely.
back their production. You couldn't have music
Yes.
concerts anymore. And in that
Yeah.
gap came video
Hmm.
games. When we were all forced to
Yes.
stay at home, we turned
Yes.
to
Yes.
gaming. And that
Yes.
persisted to this
Yeah.
day. And it's
Correct.
just remarkable how gaming has climbed. But you know what? We'll
Yeah.
save. We can maybe do a separate talk on just gaming companies, because I,
Absolutely.
I don't think a lot
Yeah.
of people
It
know.
will be. It will be beautiful. I think that
Yeah,
is a brilliant idea.
to
I like
to
that. Yes.
to sort of, you
Yeah.
can trade your favorite gaming companies. But I think on
Yes.
that note,
Absolutely.
we'll
Yep.
leave it there. Thank you, Kenny, for all
Perfect.
your awesome advice and insights,
Thank you
and
for your
I look
time, too, Sergio.
forward to more of
Brilliant.
these sessions this year.
Let's do it. Let's do it for 2024. All the
Awesome.
best to all
I'll
traders.
see you on
Take
the
care.
next one.
Thank you so much, Sergio. Bye bye.